All right, we get to see what happens to the Hawaiian Islands as this conflict rises, and we also get some new plots. Let's talk about Chief of War Episode 3. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm here to talk about Chief of War Episode 3, City of Flowers, coming to Apple TV Plus on August 8th, 2025. This is a dramatized version of the history of the Hawaiian Islands, and this episode gets a little bit more bizarre, but also quite interesting. My hot take is I think you should watch it. It's a solid episode that kind of bridges the timeline. There's a time gap here, but also lays the groundwork for some explosive future episodes. I enjoyed it. It's a little bit slow, but I still liked kind of like the plots. I liked seeing how these characters interact in different scenarios, and I'm excited to see where this goes next. So, definitely think you should check it out. Definitely think you should see this series. It's only 3 episodes in. You can definitely catch up, and it has been really good so far. So, all that being said, I'm going to tell you a little about the episode, a few things I like, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So, as you can imagine, there'll be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this episode, and you might not, there are some surprises. There's some big surprises along the way, especially towards the end. I would turn off and get to the recap. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. Let's get to those spoilers. So, City of Flowers starts a year after the end of the last episode. Remember, the last episode we had kind of a switcheroo. We had an English sailor stranded on the Hawaiian Islands. He stayed there, and we had Kayani jump off a cliff, go into the sea, and be rescued by that ship of English traders. So we have like a switch of characters, and now we get to see what happens. So things I liked about this episode. The first, I love the authenticity. I've liked it throughout, but I really like that, so much of it is in Hawaiian. Make sure to turn on your subtitles. They are not on by default for me, and that means I always have to go back and restart them. So I love that it's Hawaiian. I love that everything looks authentic. And now we get some very different locales, and they all look fantastic. They look, capitalist, the Western places look dirty and, overbearing. The Hawaiian Islands still look beautiful. Everything looks fantastic. The second thing I love the two storylines. Remember, we got kind of a split of characters here, and because of that, we have two different storylines that kind of interweave throughout. Keeps it interesting. I like jumping between them. I like seeing what's happening with these different areas, and it kind of helps the story move along very nicely. And the last thing I love the brutality. There's some brutality towards the end as some of the schemes start to happen. That was really interesting. And there's also some brutality in the middle when Kaikili is asserting his power. So, all that being said, things I didn't love, there really wasn't anything. I liked it so far. I guess, there wasn't a big violent event, which we've had in the last couple of episodes, but I like the series. I think it's been good so far. I'm excited to see where it goes next. So definitely check out Chief of War. The episode 3 comes to Apple TV Plus on August 8th, 2025. If you haven't seen it yet, catch up. It's really, really good. There's only 3 episodes so far, so you can catch up very quickly in an evening and then be ready when the next one drops next week. So, if you do check it out, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. I'm going to really quickly go into a recap right now. So if you don't know what happens this episode, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers and I will butcher every Hawaiian name. There is, I think, one non-ka Hawaiian name in this. Everything else is tough for me to say, so bear with me. So this episode starts 1 year later. Kaina is in Alaska. Very different environment. He's wearing furs. He barely wore anything before. Now he's wearing furs. The English people are teaching him different things. He's learning about muskets. He's learning about hunting. It is very different from him, but he also is learning to speak English from one of the sailors. Also, the Hawaiian people are learning to speak English from that English sailor that was left there. Everyone is learning to speak English, which is nice. We have a little smattering of English now. Makes it a little bit easier for me to follow, but anyways, over in Oahu, we see that it is kind of falling to King Kalikili. The remaining chief is is sending spies to poison the king's council, but they fall into an ambush from Chief Kalikili. He tells the chief to kneel, and then he brings out his family. The chief kneels and pledges his loyalty, and then we see Kalikili's brutality. He tells the chief to pick one of his family to feed the poisoned, soup to the poison to. So he basically has to pick which of his family to kill, his wife or his children. He doesn't want to. He says please, and then King Kalikili says kill them all. And so we see his family getting poured poison into their mouths, and that is the end of it. But again, brutal. This series is so brutal, and I kind of love it because it shows kind of how brutal this culture was. It shows how brutal this time was. People just die left and right for no reason. And it's shocking sometimes, but I assume it is accurate. I guess I'll find out after this how accurate it was. Now, over in Hawaii, we everything seems nice. We see the we find out that the king is growing old and he's looking for his nephew, who seems to kind of like action. He likes acting over, council meetings, but it seems like the current king wants this one to be his new king, and we find out it's Kamehameha. 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 Yeah, it's awesome. Although he's not blonde. He doesn't go Super Saiyan in this episode. Maybe later. Maybe that will be the climax, is when Kamehameha goes Super Saiyan and does a Kamehameha. We'll see. I mean, I think it's supposed to be accurate, but maybe they took some creative liberties. Now, Kamehameha goes and talks to the king, and it seems like the king is kind of testing him. He asks Kamehameha what he would do, if Kalakili attacked, and Kamehameha is like, I would stock food because, there was a siege where the people were starved and they couldn't fight, and so I would stock up food. And then he's like, I've already started doing that. So it shows that he is a planner, he is a leader, and I think he impresses the king. I think Kamehameha might become the next king. Now, the sailor who stayed back, who is teaching them English, is called John Young. He is teaching Kahumanu, and we find out that they are marrying her tonight. She begs for her father to wait, but I guess that is not the case. Kahumanu is being married to Kamehameha, and the reason is her father, who is, I think, the current king's like chief of war or something along those lines. He thinks that Kamehameha is the next king and the prophesized king, the one that they said will unite the Hawaiian Islands. And so he says that Kahumanu needs to be there to help guide him there, to help like fuel him to his destiny and unite the island. So that's why he wants to marry her now. She wants him to wait, but I guess she doesn't get her way because she does get married that night. Now that night, Kahumanu gets betrothed. Kamehameha is there. We see like a Hawaiian wedding ceremony. Kahumanu, I guess, can't bear children, so she's worried that Kamehameha is going to be disappointed with her, or that she won't be able to fulfill what it is that they want. But it doesn't seem to bother Kamehameha, at least on the wedding night, because they have their wedding, and then that night we see that they consummate, and it's a weird ceremony because they consummate in like a tent that you can kind of see through, and her father is there watching. I guess it's more kind of like old school, European style, where they would watch to make sure that the husband and wife consummated on their wedding day. But it is what it is. Now, over with Kayani, we are in Zamboanga in the Spanish East Indies, and Kayani is on this ship. They have cargo to trade, and so they go ashore. Kayani goes looking for guns. He goes to like a weaponsmith, says, I want guns. He gives him all his money. This raises some suspicion. He is a Hawaiian chief. He's wearing Hawaiian clothes. He is acting strange, and he wants to buy a ton of guns. But lucky for him, someone who's Hawaiian recognizes him. She says, like, weird to see a chief of Maui here, and she decides to help him. She wants to talk to the captain of the ship, and she arranges the deal. Kayani needs guns, and Hawaii has sandalwood, which is, I guess, very valuable and very rare. Tough to find, but Hawaii has a lot of it. And so they are going to help each other. She wants the captain to arrange the guns, and then Kayani can help open up the sandalwood trade. And this captain can be like the main person that's doing the sandalwood trade. They'll all make a lot of money. They'll, the captain will make money. Hawaii will make money so they can modernize and buy supplies and things like that. And they can make sure that they keep the white man, the pale skins, whatever you want to call them, away from their islands. Kayani's actually not happy about this. He says that this person is speaking like a pale skin, but I think she realizes that it's inevitable, and so they might as well be on the front end of it rather than waiting for the pale skins or whoever the greedy people to come and just take the island by force. So, and this is, kind of foreshadowing because one of the members of the crew who was on the Hawaiian Islands is offering the islands for trade. He goes to this person, I think Captain Marley, and says essentially there's an unmapped island, in the Pacific. I know where they are. We can take it and use it as a base for trade. And this person is interested. An unmapped island in the Pacific that they could use and then put a stranglehold on trade. That sounds great. Now, he first needs the map of the island, so he goes and distracts the captain who is at a brothel. This person sends a prostitute over to the captain to distract him so he can go into the captain's chambers and get a map. But while this trader is going into the cabin to get the map, Tony, the sailor, the black sailor who, has befriended Kayani, helps show him around, helps teach him English and things like that. He goes in to check on the captain, and Marley is there. and it seems like there might be a mutiny brewing because there are two other henchmen here, Marley and two other people. They beat up Tony and then they chloroform him or whatever they do to him. And they basically say, I think they're going to sell him into slavery. Marley is beating him up, and they say, no, no, he's worth more alive than dead. And then they chloroform him, and he's very resistant. I think he knows what's going to happen. And then Marley, takes Tony away and the map of Hawaii. And that is the end. That is the end of Chief of War episode 3. So what do we think is going to happen? I don't know. I mean, hopefully Kayani can find these islands without the map. Maybe he'll be able to do that. Maybe they'll be able to figure out what's happened to Marley. I hope they save Tony. That sounds like a terrible fate for him. But this series has been brutal. It's been very brutal so far. That was a brutal scene, and the aftermath might be fairly brutal too. So we will see what happens there. Is Kayani going to get the guns that he needs? Is he going to go back and train the Hawaiian people to use the guns? It seems like that might take a long time, but that would be one way for them to resist the Pale Skins, and also for them to take over to resist Kalakili by using guns. Seems like that could be a good plot. Maybe Kayani is going to team up with Kamehameha, and they are going to unite the islands. There is something about I think the prophecy is about a firebird or a phoenix. Perhaps the guns are part of that. They seem like they would be spitting fire. Who knows? What is going to happen over in the islands? Is Kamehameha going to be able to resist Kalakili? Kalakili does seem to be consolidating power. Seems like Oahu has now fallen, so he has two of the islands. Is he going to then attack Hawaii? All these questions and more we will have to wait for next week, but that is Chief of War episode 3. Like I said, definitely check it out. The series has been really good. We're only 3 episodes in, so you can catch up very quickly. And if you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.